Hello all. So today I'm talking about a Honda with the P0171 code, what it is and how you go about fixing it. So what is a Honda P0171 code? Well, it's a Bank 1 System 2 lean. And what does this mean? Well, it basically means that the onboard computer is seeing a problem with the gas air fuel ratio mixture on Bank 1 of the engine. And Bank 1 of the engine will always be on the side with the number one cylinder. So if you have a V6 or V8, just find the number one cylinder. If it's a 4-cylinder, then it'll just be one bank, so it won't matter. But if you have V6 or V8, it will matter. And I'm gonna put links down below for everything I'm looking at here. But what are some symptoms of a P0171 code? Well, the engine light might come on. It'll probably fail an emissions test. The gas mileage might be a little worse. Stalling, rough idle, maybe a misfire, those kinds of things. And keep in mind with this code is that the computer is trying to read all the information from all these different sensors, and the engine just might be need to be tuned up because it's throwing all these sensors off. So if you got bad spark plugs, it's not burning the fuel right, it's going out, and the oxygen sensor is reading the wrong information, it's going to throw everything off. Or if you got a dirty air intake filter, then it's not going to be getting the correct airflow, and it could be throwing everything off. So keep that in mind. Be sure the engine just doesn't need like a good tune-up before you go through any of these problems that I'm going to list down below. And so I'm going to go over four of the most common causes and fixes of a Honda P0171 code and give you an idea on how you go about fixing it and what to look for. So the first thing is going to be the oxygen sensor. These are located on the exhaust. There'll be two of them. There'll be an upstream and a downstream. The upstream is before the catalytic converter, and the downstream is after the catalytic converter. When this happens, it's usually the upstream, so it'll be the one before the catalytic converter. And oxygen sensors are relatively low-cost items. A lot of people just swap them out, but they can also be tested. Keep in mind, wiring is also a thing with these, so the wires have to be good, or the harness. Check that. Be sure that's all good. But number one would be the upstream oxygen sensor. And next up would be a vacuum leak. If it's a really loud vacuum leak, then it would be easy to spot and you'll be able to hear it. Then if it's a small vacuum leak, then you won't be able to hear it so good. So if you took it to a mechanic shop and they think it's a vacuum leak, they'll use a smoke machine and they'll send smoke into the system, and smoke will come out the leak, and then they'll fix it. If you're at home, you likely won't have this option. Even though there is some low-cost smoke machines, I think for around $100 on Amazon, if it reaches this point, you're probably better off taking it to a mechanic shop. But if you can look around and listen for any loud vacuum leak, like around the PVC valve or anything like that, and you can spot it, then that could be the problem. Because a common place on these Hondas where they get a vacuum leak is right around the PVC valve. So keep a lookout for that. And next up would be the MAF sensor. So the mass airflow sensor is located right on the air intake box, and it reports to the computer how much air, how much oxygen is going into the engine. And so it needs this information to get the right air-fuel ratio mixture. And if it gets dirty, then it'll act up and it won't report back the right information. So commonly you could just clean it up and get it working again. Be sure to check the wiring and the harness. It can also go bad, but usually they just need to be cleaned up. They're another low-cost part that you can replace, but usually if you just clean them up, they'll start working again. So number 3 on the list would be the MAF sensor. And next up would be a clogged or a bad fuel injector. There's several ways to troubleshoot a bad injector. You go watch some videos on that. Some people will listen for it. They got voltage going to it, so you could read that. Some people will start swapping out with known good one, like they'll go buy a single fuel injector and they'll just go down the line and swap it out to see if it clears up the problem. Different things like that. But a bad fuel injector would be able to cause this problem, and it's definitely something to look out for. And so that's basically it. I just wanted to give a quick overview of a Honda with the P0171 error code. If you have anything to add, please comment down below. If you have any questions, ask me and I'll try to answer them. If this video helps you, please click like, please click subscribe, and have a good day.